Hello students, how are you? Did you watch the first chapter of the video? How far is the river? All of you watched, no? Now, the continue part of the lesson, how far is the river? The continue part of the lesson, how far is the river? In this lesson, a boy searching the river in the forest. In this lesson, a boy searching the forest, searching the river in the forest or in the nature. So, he is started his journey now. Boy is started the journey now. All of you look your textbook. It was 11 o'clock. It was 11 o'clock and he knew his parents wouldn't return home till evening. There was a loaf of bread he could take with him. Boy is started the journey, means he want to go to the river. Then it was 11 o'clock, time is 11 o'clock and he knew his parents would not return home, means he know that his father and mother, his parents would not return home till evening. There was a loaf of bread he could take with him, piece of the bread, loaf means piece of the bread he would take with him, and on the way he might some fruits also. He found some fruits also in the way, piece of the bread and fruits with him take, and we will be going to the river. Here was the opportunity he had waited for. He is waiting for the time. Why? Because he want to go to the river. So, his father and mother is not there that time. He think and he will be going to the river. His mother and father had gone to visit relatives' house. Where went his father and mother? Boy's father and mother went to relation's house. For entire day, he know that they will be returning till evening. If he came home before dark, before they returned, and they would not know where had been, but parents don't know that where he went. Then how did the boy get a chance to see the river now? How did the boy get a chance to see the river now? How did the boy get a chance to see the river now? Why? Because his father and mother went to relation's house, so he got the chance to see the river. Then what happened? He went into the house and wrapped the loaf in a newspaper. Father and mother is not there in house, so what he made? He went into the house and wrapped the loaf in a newspaper. Piece of the bread he wrapped in the newspaper, and then he closed all the doors and windows. Closed the doors and windows, and he again beginning the journey. The path to the river dropped steeply. How was the path? The path to the river dropped steeply into the valley. Then rose and went round the big mountain. The way is up and down, not level area. It was frequently used by the villagers. There so many persons are there, villagers, the woodcutters, milkmen and mule drivers. Mule means horse or donkey. But there were no villages beyond the mountain, only mountains, but nobody is not there, only these persons. Who are they? Mule drivers, milkmen, woodcutters. On the way he got. Or near the river. He want to go to the river, but in the way some persons, woodcutters, milkmen, mule drivers and so on. These are all he got in the way. The boy passed a woodcutter. In the way he met a woodcutter, and he passed a woodcutter and asked him how far it was to the river. how far is there for reach the river? Like that boy asked with the woodcutter. The woodcutter was a short. How was the woodcutter? The woodcutter was a short but powerful man. He is a strong man with a creased and weathered face, wrinkled face, and muscles that stood out in hard, ugly lumps. Means he may be doing the hard work. Like that we can find out from his features. Then, did the woodcutter encourage the boy to go to the river? Did the woodcutter encourage the boy to go to the river? He is encouraged to the boy? No, he didn't encourage. Woodcutter didn't encourage, didn't support it to go to the river. Then he said 7 miles. Who said? Woodcutter said only 7 miles is there for reach the river, which was fairly accurate. Why do you want to know? Why are you going to there? Why do you want to know? I am going to the river. Like that boy replying, I am going to the river. Alone? Only single person you are going? Oh, of course, surely I am going alone. Like that boy replying. But it is too far. Woodcutter said, but river is very far, very far. It would take you 3 hours to reach there. Maximum 3 hours want for to reach the river, and then you have to come back. Again you want to go, then again you want to come back. It will be getting dark. If you returning, that time becoming dark or getting dark. Besides, it is not an easy road. That also not a easy road, a rough road. So you can't go there. Like that woodcutter said. But I am good walker. So again boy replying, I know that I can walk. I am a good walker, said the boy. True, he had never walked further than, he simply told, boy simply told. Why? Because he had never walked further than the mile from the house to his school. He didn't walk very far. He simply told like that, I am a good walker, like that. And was the boy a good walker? Her question is there in the textbook. Was the boy a good walker? No, boy is actually not a good walker. The path was steep. Now, how was the path? How was the way? The path was steep and the boy had to run most of the time. It was dizzy. Dizzy means unable to walk, not a level area. Winding path means turned path, and he slipped so many times, once or twice, means boy slipped and going. The hill was covered with lush green ferns. The mountain was covered with lush green ferns. The trees were wound in creepers. Means creepers are covered for the trees. And a great wild dahlia, also the wild animals also is there in the forest. Some different types of the animals are there in the forest. Next what happened? Soon the boy was in the valley and the path straightened out and rose. This up and down place is there, area is there. He met a girl. When he walking in the way, again first he got woodcutter, then he met a girl who was coming from the opposite direction. Girl was coming from the opposite direction. She held a long curved knife. What was there in her hand? Long curved knife which she had been cutting the grass. She is doing the work in that way, cutting the grass. The bangles she wore made a music. She wear the bangles that is making the sound, musical sound. Music when she moved her hands. If she moving her hands, the sound is coming, that is the musical sound. Then, and it was as through the hands spoke a language of their own, means the bangles spoke a language of their own. The hands spoke a language of their own. What does the expression mean here? what does the expression mean? Means the bangle sounds like a musical voice. So one person is there in that place, like that we can find out from the sound of the bangles. How far is it to the river? Asked the boy. Boy asking with the girl, how far is there for to reach the river? But the girl don't know that. She told only 20 miles without any hesitation. Without any hesitation, she told the answer only 20 miles. And the boy laughed and ran down the path. What boy made? Boy laughed and running. Very happy. Boy become very happy. A parrot suddenly screeched, flew over his head. A flash of red green. The bird disappeared among the trees. Means in the forest when he walking, some birds he got in the way and different types of the birds flew away. Next what happened? He went ahead. A trickle of water came from the hillside. A trickle of the water means drops, water drops, water came from the hillside. Hillside is there. From the hillside, a trickle of the water, sound of the water, trickle of the water. And the boy stopped to drink. Boy is very thirsty. Boy, they stopped and drinking the water. The water was cold and sharp. How was the water? Here from the hillside he got the water. How was the water? Water is sharp, cold and fresh. Sharp, cold and fresh. However, it seemed to have the effect of making him more thirsty. But the water's taste becoming more thirsty to the boy. The sun was he might want to later. Now he becoming hungry, but bread also finished, river also can't see, his friend village boy also, he missed the village boy also. Now he becoming frightening. He was determined to see the river. He was determined, very challenged to the river. Want to look the river. He wanted on along the hot. He walked on along the hot, dusty, stony path, past mud huts and terraced fields until there was no more fields or huts. All he passed in the way. What are there? Dusty, stony path and past mud hills, and these are all he passed in the way. Only forest and sun and loneliness. Now he got only the sun and loneliness. Only boy only is there in the way. Now there was no man or any sign of the man influence. He went very far now, but he didn't get anything now. Nobody is not there in the way. Only trees and rocks. You know that in the forest only trees and rocks and bramble and flowers. So only the silence. Now only silence. Lonely person, lonely boy now walking in the forest to want to reach the river. The boy found a silence impressive but frightening. Why? Now the boy found the silence impressive but frightening. Why? Why? Because that silence is difficult from the silence of the dark room or street. The silence was impressive and a little frightening. It was different from the silence of a room or street. It was silence of space, of the unknown, the silence of God. He compared the silence to the dark room. Here boy, only lonely person thinking, and he said that his own the silence is very dark. Silence is very dark. He compared to the dark room here. Then as the boy rounded a sharp bend, boy is going in the way. The silence is broke into sound. When he went ahead, the silence is broke into the sound. What sound? A sudden roaring sound. A sudden roaring sound. And big sound is hearing. The sound of the water. The sound of the water he is hearing now. Far down in the valley, the river tumbled over rocks. River is full of rocks now. He got the river. Who got the river? Boy got the river now. The boy gasped and began to run. Boy, what he done? He gasped and began to run. Very fastly he is running. He slipped and stumbled. Slipped and running. But still he ran. Sometimes he running, sometimes he walking, sometimes he stumbled. Then he was ankle deep in the painfully cold mountain water. Now he reached to the water near the mountain, and the water is very cold, and the water is blue and white and wonderful. How was the water? The water is blue, white and wonderful. This is the journey to reach the river. The boy now already reached the river. This is the lesson. Thank you.